This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I'm going to do things my way, innit? If Wilder works, we're going to make it happen. If Wilder isn't the right opponent for next year, then we'll put it back on into 2019. I'm going to take fights at the right time for me. Yeah, if it's next year or the year after or the year after, when I fight him, I'll be in a position to beat.
It's too early for Wilder to fight Joshua, really, but I would like to see it happening in 2 years' time, when they're both huge and we're talking about $1 billion income and not $100 billion income.
We had an email last night from Deontay Wilder offering us $50 million apparently, and I just written back and said, look, obviously we'd be very interested in that offer, but we need to see quite a few things. Proof of funds will be nice.
We're not asking to see proof of funds.
They made us a very good offer. Some of the points in that offer were good, some were acceptable, some were unacceptable, but the basic response from AJ, Rob McCracken, fight of this magnitude, of this history, should take place in the UK.
Welcome back to Keep It Raw Boxing. This is Cypher Box. Okay, so let's do one of those Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder videos. Okay, so Barry Hearn recently did a IFL interview where he once again openly admitted that he doesn't want to see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, you know, for at least another 2 years. Because he wants it to build, he wants it to make money, etc, etc, etc. Now, this isn't the first time Barry Hearn made this comment. What you saw at the beginning of the video, of this video, where I played you some audio clips, a compilation of audio clips, and Barry Hearn's was one of them, where he said this in the past, where he wants to hold it off for a year, 2 years, etc, and stuff like that. There's also an article which I will link in the description of the video again, where Barry Hearn also openly admitted that he arranged a meeting with Anthony Joshua some months ago, and he basically said he was going to advise Anthony Joshua not to make the Deontay Wilder fight now, wait a year or two, because he wants it to build so it makes money. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a part of that audio clip from that interview, and then give you my take on it, and then talk about all these other YouTube channels, UK and US based YouTube channels, which are running out of excuses and finding the littlest thing in the interview to try and protect Anthony Joshua and the Hearns and Matchroom Boxing from what they're actually doing. You know, I've exposed them a lot. If you go check out my playlist, AJ versus Wilder, and you watch all those videos, and it will, you know, in that video I describe and back it all up with facts of how Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn and Anthony Joshua at this moment in time are doing everything to avoid a fight with Deontay Wilder. But let me play you that audio clip first, yeah?
He wants. I mean, Eddie and Anthony Joshua would fight Deontay Wilder on September 22nd. Personally, my advice was, let's leave it 2 years, because then how the Mayweather Pacquiao fight got built, you know, in commercial terms, Deontay Wilder and AJ today is a $70 million fight, maybe 80. In 2 years' time, it might be $250, $300 million.
But there's a greater risk of, in 2 years' time, one of them fighters getting beat.
That's where your judgment comes in and say, do I see anyone out there to beat either of them? No. Could it happen? Yes. If it happens, okay, that was a bad call. But, you know, life's about making calls. It's not about sitting still, not taking chances. So I think Shelley Finkel wanted to cash in on Deontay Wilder straight away. That's my honest view. He wanted to fight straight away. That's crazy. Business crazy. And Shelley knows better than that, unless he didn't fancy winning the fight and thought we better get some money out of it. That's a possibility. We don't have that concern with AJ.
Have you had any further conversations with Shelley Finkel since then?
No, I wouldn't have a conversation unless Eddie told me to, because he's in charge. I'm happy to be there if necessary, and I'm sure post Fury Wilder, if it happens, would be a good time to talk again. But when you plan a business that's got a 10-year lifespan, you don't rush it. You know, I said to AJ, he asked me my honest opinion. I said, if you told me you were going to retire in 6 months' time, I'd tell you to fight Deontay Wilder now. If you tell me you're here for the long run, I say that fight can only get bigger. And also, you don't take chances. You don't go to the other bloke's backyard when you don't need to. The money is insignificant different.
So if it's your personal preference, you would choose for AJ to fight him in 2 years' time from now?
2 years would be the maximum. The most likely thing for me would be fall 2019.
Okay.
I think by then, I mean, Deontay Wilder's done a very good job of making himself famous on the back of all this AJ and Fury and all that. And that's good news for everybody, because no one knows, or no one knew Deontay Wilder in America. More people know him now. And AJ is unknown in America, largely. And in a year's time, more people will know him. And that fight is an automatic one to be built. And then the money is the difference between 300,000 or 400,000 buys on pay-per-view in America and 1.5 million buys. It's a colossal difference. The UK market is already mature, and we do what we do, and there's not a massive upside because AJ is so big. You can't do more than sell out Wembley. You can't do more than 1.25, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. So where's your upside? The upside is internationally, as more people know Joshua, and we're doing an outstanding job on his international television, and the US pay-per-view. The DAZN operation is also going to be a big plus because the marketing they can bring behind AJ in America will be colossal. So I'm very happy. But look, worst case scenario, if AJ's unbeaten for 10 years and doesn't fight Deontay Wilder, I'll take that.
I mean, listen, look. Barry Hearn makes me laugh, yeah? Okay. He said right there at the end, if Anthony Joshua remains undefeated for 10 years and doesn't fight Deontay Wilder, I'll take that. That tells you everything you need to know right there. Okay, that comment alone. That they don't really care whether AJ fights Wilder or not. Yeah, ideally they're gonna try and make the fight. Yeah, not now of course, in a couple of years from now when they feel they have the advantage over Deontay Wilder, you know, and they can make some money off the fight, you know, and give him a cheap deal, a slave contract again, and then all the proceeds goes to them of the fight. Yeah, but not only that, he's also trying to say we're happy to just, you know, keep milking Anthony Joshua for the rest of his career for the next 10 years, making 20 million a fight, 30 million a fight, and actually never facing Deontay Wilder. Okay, that says it all of your intentions to make the fight. Now a lot of people out there are still using this same excuse, you know, and they're going along with what Eddie Hearn's saying as well, which is Eddie Hearn, you know, going on about, well, you know, we put a contract there. Even Barry Hearn said it in this interview, you know, and I've linked it in the description. You can watch it again if you want. And he even says it that, you know, we sent them a contract for April the 13th and, you know, for the $15 million. And if there's something you don't like, you know, get back to us. Let us know. You know, just tell us and, you know, we'll have a look at it. Well, they did that the first time round. You sent an offer email, $15 million. You put some terms in there. They said, we accept the $15 million offer. We'll take that fight. However, we want you to change a few of the terms in the contract, namely the rematch clause. We want the rematch clause to be both ways. And hey, we want to change the date. Where is the date and the venue? And we don't want the date you supplied us, which was at that time was September the 15th, when Canelo Alvarez was fighting. Now, Eddie Hearn's excuse is like, well, we didn't know, you know, at that time, you know, the Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight, we didn't know it was going to happen or not. But you knew Canelo Alvarez was going to fight on September the 15th, and you know full well you can't go up against Canelo Alvarez on September 15th or at any time, because Canelo Alvarez is the biggest US pay-per-view draw. You don't go up against him. Whether he's fighting Triple G, Daniel Jacobs, it doesn't matter. You do not go up against Canelo Alvarez. Now, Eddie Hearn also knew that Canelo Alvarez was going to fight on September 15th because he had been approached by Oscar De La Hoya when, at that time, the fight between Canelo and Triple G wasn't on, and Oscar De La Hoya was going to walk away from it, and he approached Eddie Hearn to make a potential fight on September 15th between Canelo Alvarez and Daniel Jacobs. And Eddie Hearn himself acknowledged that and said, yes, we've been approached by Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions to make that fight, potentially. Obviously, the fight was never made because in the end, they managed to get through the tough negotiations with Triple G, and now we've got Canelo Triple G on September 15th. But no matter what, you knew Canelo Alvarez was going to fight on September 15th, so why would you put that in the terms and the conditions of the original of the original email you sent? Do you see what I mean? Now he's banging on, Eddie Hearn's now banging on about this whole thing, saying that, oh, well, you know, they're fighting Tyson Fury, but where's the date? Where's the venue? You know, where is the date and the venue? You were the one who made the big deal about a date and a venue, mate. Yeah, when that $50 million offer was made to you. And you're the one who turned around and started saying, oh, well, we can't sign a contract. We don't know the date, the venue, and the details of the fight, and, you know, etc. And who's funding the fight, and etc. etc. We want to see proof of funds. And then later on saying, oh, we didn't ask to see proof of funds. You can't make your mind up. So I mean, it's the same old excuses. Now the new narrative is from Eddie Hearn is that, oh, well, you know, he's getting Frank Warren involved. Frank Warren turned around and said in an interview on Boxing Social that, oh, well, you know, Shelley Finkel approached him and apparently BT Sports about helping fund the $50 million offer, and he said, oh, that's a bad look. That's a bad look. You know, that doesn't look right if that's what you're doing. Okay, so what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Yes, the fight would have, and I've seen channels trying to use the same excuse as well. Let me put it this way to you, yeah? Yes, if Shelley Finkel approached Frank Warren to make a fight to help him with the funding of that $50 million offer, it would mean that BT Sports would want to show the fight on BT Sports. But BT Sports would also have to understand that AJ has a broadcasting contract with Sky Sports, which means that you would have to show the fight on both channels. They do it in America. Lewis Tyson shown on HBO and Showtime. Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather shown on Showtime and HBO. Vladimir Klitschko versus Anthony Joshua in America shown on Showtime and HBO. Because they had each fighter had a broadcasting deal with either HBO or Showtime. So that means you just have to do the same here in the UK, wouldn't you? So again, tired of all these excuses. There's a way around those things. If you want to make the fight, there are ways around it. Simple as that. Move on to these YouTube channels out there who, you know, are finding any way of trying to make a little excuse to protect Anthony Joshua and Barry Hearn and all this sort of stuff. You know, one I heard was, oh, well, you know, Barry Hearn also said in this interview, you know, that, you know, Eddie has the final say in everything when it comes to boxing. Well, okay, let's talk about this a little bit, yeah? Eddie might have the final say, but you don't think that his father, after all these years, isn't able to influence Eddie Hearn? You think his son, Eddie Hearn, is not going to take his father's advice and his experience, yeah, in handling these sorts of situations, yeah, to help benefit them and their company and their business? Yeah? You don't think that Barry Hearn... Now, I heard another thing that we were saying in that video was, that Anthony Joshua asked Barry Hearn for advice. Well, I've got an article link which is in the description of the video where Barry Hearn himself has said he arranged an interview, a meeting, with with Anthony Joshua, and he will be advising Anthony Joshua at that meeting not to take the Wilder fight just yet. Put it off another year or two. So this narrative where people are pushing this whole thing of, oh, well, you know, AJ asked him for his advice, you know, and you know what, Barry Hearn, you know, he doesn't have any say, trying to make it like Barry Hearn doesn't have any say in matchroom boxing. Barry Hearn doesn't have any say in this whole AJ versus Wilder thing. It's all down to Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. No. This is how it goes. Barry Hearn arranged a meeting with Anthony Joshua. He told Anthony Joshua what he thinks he needs to do next, giving him his advice on his experience, right? Then AJ turns to Eddie. Eddie, what do you think? Well, I disagree a little bit. I like to have the fight now. But at the same time, Dad knows what he's talking about, AJ. Boom. That's all it takes. And then Anthony Joshua turns around and says, okay, you know what? I've just listened to what you two say because I think you two know better than me. And then, there you go. There you go. The fight's not on. So don't act like Barry Hearn doesn't have any influence over Anthony Joshua or any influence over his son Eddie Hearn, because he does. He is the chairman, the top dog, the top boss, the man at Matchroom Boxing, who has put his son in charge to do the running around now because he's a little bit too old. Yeah? He's getting to that point where he might need a Zimmer frame pretty soon. So stop using all these, making these excuses. Use a bit of common sense and logic. Yeah? And stop coming up with these poor ass excuses. Nothing but excuses. Any way to protect Anthony Joshua and the Hearns in this situation. What makes me laugh as well about these YouTube channels out there who are pushing this new narrative now, yeah, who are trying to find any old way to protect these guys, yeah, is that they sit there going, you know, if you want to be, you know, you have to be objective and impartial in these situations and really listen to everything that's been said in the video. No, you're listening to everything that's been said in the video and you're listening to it closely, and then you revise it over and over again so you can hope to pick out something that you may potentially get away with, you know, in sense of making an excuse for their behavior. You're not conning me. Not be funny. You know, if the casual boxing fans out there want to fall for it, because we know they do, they don't think for themselves, you know, even though God gave them a brain and they refuse to use it, yeah, they want to keep following that nonsense, go ahead. Put your little magic trick and your reverse psychology and everything on someone else. They don't work on me, man. I'm telling you straight up. Yeah? This is Keep It Real Boxing. I'll keep it real. And you ain't going to fool me. You're going to run no tricks on me. It's not going to work. So say what you want. But there are UK channels out there who are talking like me as well. Believe it or not. You know? I saw one the other day. And this geezer, right, I'm gonna shout the channel out. It's called Porky's Corner. And I came across his video. Yeah? And he just ripped into him. And he made some better points as well. Which was... And I have to agree with those points. If AJ loses against Wilder, boom, he loses all his endorsements. There's more at stake than just Anthony Joshua's record here, or him losing the titles. Yeah? If he loses a fight against Deontay Wilder, or anyone for that matter, boom, there goes the endorsements that are attached to his name. Who wants to endorse a guy who just lost the world titles, heavyweight titles? You look at like Ronda Rousey. She was on top of the world when she was undefeated in mixed martial arts. Was she not? She was on top of the world. Endorsements, doing movies, SP awards, and you know all that stuff. And then as soon as she lost, boom, no one wanted to touch her. Then she lost again. It was all done. So there's a lot more involved here. And as you know, Matchroom are probably the guys who are setting up those agreements. Matchroom are the ones who are getting those endorsements for Anthony Joshua, which means they're getting a slice of that pie as well. It's not just his fight money they're taking a cut, they're taking a cut out of that as well. So there's a lot at stake here. So of course they would love to, but of course with Barry Hearn's statement, if he goes the next 10 years without fighting Deontay Wilder and remains undefeated, I'll take that. Of course you will, because it's a lot of money in your pocket. Guaranteed. This heavyweight division that we're seeing right now isn't stacked like old heavyweight divisions of the past. You know, the other night, I spent my Saturday night watching the Riddick Bro Evander Holyfield trilogy. Back in those days, there was loads of competitors and top heavyweights. Nowadays, today we don't have that. Then Barry Hearn's turning around and saying things like, oh, Shelley Finkel must not think Deontay Wilder can win the fight. That's why he's trying to cash out on him and trying to make loads of money off him right now. Well, not be funny, but they accepted your $15 million offer. All they requested from you was to change two things. Like I said earlier on in the video, to change two things. One, change the date and give us a date and a venue. And two, which was change the rematch clause. So it's the rematch clause is both ways for both fighters. Simple as that. You're the one who's talking like, hey, if AJ goes the next 10 years undefeated without fighting Wilder, I'll take that. Sounds like, to me, you're the one who's lacking in confidence, mate, in your fighter. With comments like that. But these guys just make it too easy to expose their bullshit. It's unbelievable. It's too easy, I'm telling you. I've been doing it for over a year, for near enough a year, sorry, now. You know, and I know I'm going to get every AJ fan and all their, you know, bullshit excuses and, you know, all their, all their insults coming my way. Couldn't care less. Go to the playlist on my channel called AJ versus Wilder. Go watch all those videos and you will have an answer to every single one of your excuses. Yeah, I've answered them all. I've proven how Hearn delayed the signing of the contract for Wilder AJ. And then, when he realised that the contract was about to be signed, he asked the WBA to step in and put a 24-hour deadline in place. I've proved that. Broke it down beautifully. Backed up with facts. Yeah, not fiction. Proved the $50 million offer was real and it exists. You heard it at the beginning, the audio clip of him saying they made us a great offer. Some of the terms of that offer were acceptable and some of them were unacceptable. Well, that means that there was a $50 million offer. Otherwise, what offer is he referring to? And how does he know the terms of those offers if he's claiming now that he never saw the term sheet for that offer of $50 million? $50 million. Right? That means the $50 million offer was real and he saw the terms of that offer. Excuse after excuse after excuse. Yeah, I've rebutted it all. All their excuses. You got nowhere left to run. You're running out of excuses. That's why these YouTube channels out there, they're now, you know, they're trying to pick the little things now. Because they're holding on. They're like, oh God, we're running out of excuses. So we've got to find every little thing to try and protect AJ, to try and protect Hearn and Barry and Matchroom. Makes me laugh. It really does. But you heard Barry Hearn say it once again. 2 years is when he wants to see the fight. 2. And he also said, if AJ goes the next 10 years undefeated without fighting Wilder, I'll take that. Enough said. Checkmate. As always, like, share and subscribe. This is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.